Well, I don't know about you, but this hair has no body and is practically lifeless. It's very, very straight, doesn't hold a curl. Oh my gosh. So today I'm going to share with you what works for me, what I do to give this very limp and lifeless hair a little bit of body and a little bit of style. Hi, I'm Dawn from Just Doing My Best. If you're here for the first time, I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. I'm here every week with a brand new video for women over 40 and women over 50 who just want to look and feel our very best today, where we are right now. If you've been here before, you know that I just made a video on cutting my own bangs at home, just to kind of stretch out the haircut just a little bit. Today, I'm going to add a little bit of volume to this hair. I have none, zero, nada. So have a few tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you. But for now, I hope that if you like this video, you'll think about subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up, and be sure to find me on Instagram and Facebook at Just Doing My Best. Let's jump in. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do before I start to blow dry is I'm going to put in a leave-in conditioner. I love this one. It's a great leave-in conditioner, you know, especially if you're naturally blonde like I am. I love this one, and it doesn't take much. I usually only use about 3 or 4 sprays, that's it, and then comb it through with a wide tooth comb. And in the description below this video, I will leave links to everything that I'm using, so all you have to do is go below this video to find it. And now I'm ready to blow dry. One thing that I did recently was I upgraded my blow dryer, which I do recommend you doing. There are some really expensive blow dryers which you don't have to have, but I did upgrade mine a little bit. It was a little bit pricier than the one that I had. Definitely do a little bit of research, get the best blow dryer that you can afford that will work for you, because you do want your blow dryer to do a lot of work for you. It definitely makes it better for your hair. It makes it healthier for your hair. It creates less work for you after the blow drying is done. So definitely get a little bit better blow dryer, and so that your blow dryer is better able to do a lot of the work for you. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to blow dry a lot of the wet out of it. Okay, because I really want to work with it when it's about 50% dry. And the next thing that I'm going to do after I get to about 50% dry is I'm going to spend a lot of time, I part on this side. So when I have my style, my part is on this side, I'm going to blow dry a lot with my hair parted on this side, and we'll talk more about that later. Main reason for this video is that if you're like me, I have very straight hair. I don't have a lot of hair, and it's fine. So I need to work extra hard to get my hair to look like it has volume, okay? So it's definitely a process. And one of the things that's very important in the process when you're trying to give your hair volume is I want to blow dry in the opposite direction first of where I want my hair to go. So blow drying my hair this way on all the sides. In the front, I'm blow drying it down. By doing that, I'm forcing my hair in a different direction, which will help me get some of the volume that I'm looking for. Again, hair in my eyes. So again, now I'm about halfway dry. So now is when I really want to use my brush, and I want to make the brush and the blow dryer work for me. So I'm going to turn the temperature on higher, but I'm going to turn the strength of the blow dryer a little bit lower to make it easier to work with. Right here on the sides, all I'm trying to do here is just straighten this out and just make sure that the ends kind of go under and they're a little tame. But now you're going to see me work on this area right here. I like to have some volume right here in this crown. So what you're going to see me do is I'm gonna blow dry the most everything down, and I want it to all be straight. It's pretty straight anyway. This hair doesn't hold a curl at all. So you will probably never see me do a video on curling my hair because I can start at this side and by the time I get over here, it's gone. So it's one of those things that comes with age when you know your limits, and I know my hair's limits. And so I don't even bother to curl it because it doesn't work. So now I'm gonna work on giving myself a little bit of lift right here in these areas right here. I want you to see what I'm doing with my brush. So I keep working this up and working this up, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to wrap as much hair around the brush as I can. And the other thing that I want to do is I want the lift to be right here, okay? So the further I pull the brush up, the further that I pull the hair up, do you see how I'm almost taking it straight? And then rest the brush right here. That's going to give me lift right here. If I pull it down this way, what it's going to do is it's going to curl my hair like this, and I won't have any lift right here. So depending on where you're working on your head, what you want to have happen in that area is going to determine where you put the brush. I want some lift right here, so I'm pulling it straight up and then hugging that brush to my head, so you'll see what I mean. And I keep touching it to get it to warm up and then taking it away because it's hot. But I want to show you what I'm going to do, so watch this. Okay, now I'm going to let this cool. Now do you see? I've got a little lift underneath there. That's exactly what I want. Do you see how it's doing that? That's exactly what I want, is I want that lift right there. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. And some of this is going to fall, and that's going to be okay, but I'm trying to create as much lift as I can right there at the base. So you'll see me doing that as I go through my whole head. So I want some lift up here at the crown. So again, I'm just drawing that brush straight up and then hugging it close to my scalp so I can blow dry that and give myself some lift right there. Now I'm going to try to move over to the other side for just a little while and then come back. But my hair is so fine. It's drying so fast that I'm having to spray it down a little bit so I can show you what I'm doing. So can you see that? By putting it very close to the crown, pulling it up and very close to the crown, that's what's given me that lift right there at the crown, which is where I want it. Now I'm going to start on the bangs a little bit. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time right there at the crown like we did in the back, because if I did that, my bangs are going to look like this. Not really the look I'm going for. So I need to bring them down a little bit because I want them down, and I just want to have just a slight curve to them, and I want the curve to be in the middle and then towards the end. So rather than be up here, I'm bringing the brush down here. If you spend a few extra minutes blow drying and putting the hair exactly where you want it to be, then the work afterwards with the blow dryer, with the curling iron, like I said, is a lot less. And when I am blow drying this, I don't want to put that blow dryer on there and just sit like this for several minutes or even several seconds. I'm doing it a little bit. I want it to heat up and I want it to mold itself around the brush. I don't want to, which would be easy to do, kind of fry it with that blow dryer by really getting really intense and letting it just sit on there forever and ever and ever. First of all, that's really hot on your scalp. But second of all, it can fry your hair. All I want to do is warm up that brush and warm up that hair so that it can sit there for a minute. Then I'm going to take the heat off. Just let the brush do its job. Let it cool. And then see what position that it's in. Okay, now before I start flat ironing, I want to say the same thing about the flat iron that I did about the blow dryer. If you can upgrade your flat iron, I would definitely do it. They have really changed. The technology is so much better. The research is so much better. There's so much better quality flat irons or curling irons out there than there were when we were in high school. So upgrade a little bit. I love this one. And as far as the heat goes, I would definitely stick to the middle temperature. If you've got a temperature gauge, this one, there's like 5 different heat settings, and I stick with the middle one. Anything higher than that, and you can really, really fry your hair. Now remember when I was blow drying and I blew it dry in the opposite direction first just to give it a little bit of lift? So same thing with this is I'm going to give my hair a little something to hold on to. So I'm going to put some hairspray on it before I get started to give it a little something to hold on to. That's just my preference. I have tried several different things, and everything else that I have found, my hair gets really sticky, it gets really gummy and really hard for me to kind of work my fingers through. And I've got my fingers in it all the time while I'm working on it and trying to get it where I want. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray this, again, a lot in the opposite direction of how I will eventually style it. I have a lot of people who tell me, Dawn, your hair has so much volume, it's so fluffy. There is an entire infrastructure in here, let me just tell you. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. So just like I blew it dry in the opposite direction, I'm going to put some hairspray in there to give it something to hold on to. And instead of being right here where I'm going to flat iron, I'm going to go deep inside. Again, to give it some volume and give it something to hold on to. So it looks crazy, but I really want to dig in there and then create layers because, again, my hair is so straight. It's so fine that it needs all the help I can give it. So you may have better behaved hair than I do. If you do, you could probably skip a lot of this product. Mine, like I said, I can't even curl it. I could do this side and 5 minutes later I'm doing this side and this side has fallen. So I need a lot. So again, this is for straight, limp, lifeless hair, and this is what works for me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and flat iron, and behind my camera I have another mirror. So if you see me doing this, I'm trying to make sure I can see what I'm doing. All I'm doing now is kind of straightening out that bottom layer just to keep it from, you know, kind of getting frizzy or whatever before I tackle this part right here where I want to give myself a lift. Now, if you have a lot of hair, if your hair is curlier than mine, you know, you could definitely get some clips. I have been known to use clips, but it's pretty straight and, you know, kind of does what it wants to do. But I don't have a lot of hair anyway, so I don't usually worry about clips. I do want to say though, make sure that you're really combing to make sure that you've got out any of the knots. I know that, you know, you probably already know this, but I'm just going to say it. If you've got knots in your hair and you put your flat iron in there, it's kind of like ironing wrinkles into a shirt. So you want to make sure that you're getting all of the kinks, all of the knots out of your hair so that you're just making it smooth. Right now I'm just doing that under layer right here, but when I get to this area, I'm going to show you a couple of neat little tricks to give yourself some volume. See, all I'm doing is just straightening out kind of this bottom layer right here before I get to this part right here. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of my bangs. When I put the flat iron in, what I really want to do is I always want to get as close to my scalp as possible and then just pull it out. I don't really want to turn the flat iron a great deal. See, just a little bit, just like that. Now, I said that my hair will be flat once I get to this side, so at almost every step, I add a little hairspray. Okay, here is where I'm going to add a little bit of volume right in here. So the first thing I'm going to do, and obviously, you know what? If you were done here, you can see that I let the blow dryer and the brush do a lot of work. So you could see, you could almost stop right now if you wanted to. I just want to add some volume right in here. And so for me, that's going to take just a little bit of work. Okay, so first trick is I want to put a little volume right here. So I can do one of two things. I can either spray it a little bit before I put my flat iron in it, just to give it some texture, give it something to grab onto, or, which is what I do a lot, take this and tease it a little bit, and then put a little spray in it. Do you see that? Knocking stuff over. And I'm going to put it in place. Now, a couple of things. First of all, I'm not going to let this scare me because I know it won't stay like that. But here's something that I do want to share. Keep in mind what we talked about the blow dryer and where you put the brush. That is also the same for the flat iron. So I'll show you if I can show you this. I'm going to brush this up. Okay. I'm going to tease it just a little bit. Now, put my flat iron in and I start to turn it. Do you see that? I started way up here so that I've got a good little lift right in here. I made a mistake. I'm going to fix that. And then you can kind of do what you do with your brush is once you've got that in place, you could kind of hold that in place a little bit to let it cool off if you wanted to. Now I'm just going to do a little spot over here on the side. And again, this is a really good example right here. Is the further I go out and the curvier it is, that's where the curl is going to be. If I go further up like this, now it's got more of a curve instead of a curl at the end, which is kind of what I want. So the more you go out and down, the more you're just kind of giving it just a little bit of a curve, and which is really what I want, versus when you were over here and you got a thinner section. Let's see if I can take some of that out. You got a thinner section. Now, instead of what I did up here, where I want out that way, instead, since I want more volume in the top, I'm going to go up and turning it. Does that make sense? Now I think I'm ready to style it. Now, one of the things that I really like before I really start running my fingers through it is I like a good dry texture spray. There are pastes that you can use. You put on your hands and then run your fingers through them. If that's more your style, if you like that better, I like those a little bit better on shorter hair. On longer hair, I like this texture spray. It's not really a hairspray. It really just adds texture to your hair. It just gives you some definition so that when you brush it, it doesn't just look like a helmet. It gives you some definition, some separation. You'll see what I mean. I love a dry texture spray. And that's really all you need of that. So now I'm just going to kind of run my fingers through it and kind of see what I've got to work with here. Okay, so I kind of like it. I'm gonna kind of spray it into place a little bit. Wasn't sure what I'd have to work with while I'm looking in a mirror and looking at the camera and looking in the mirror and trying to figure out what I'm doing. So let me try to put some of this in place where I want it. So one of the things that I really like to do to make it look like I've got a little bit more texture is kind of piece it out and separate it out a little bit. So, and I can kind of tease it just a little bit more. And I'll tell you one of the things that I like to do when I'm spraying. So I'm going to look past the camera to the mirror so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm kind of piecing it out just a little bit. And then where I kind of have a piece or two where I want it, trying to work with it. What I do is before I spray it, I kind of separate it from the rest so I can work with just that piece, just those pieces, so it doesn't look like a helmet. So I like this piece right here. So to give it a little bit of texture, I'm going to kind of separate it out. So I'm just spraying that portion of it. So same with my bangs, separate those out just a little bit. So that's how it kind of gives it a little bit of definition rather than just spraying willy-nilly. I'm separating it out just a little bit. So I like that piece right here. I'm going to do that. So I like that piece right there. I'm going to separate it out just a little bit. Okay? Now I need to check on the back. So I think that I have it the way I want it. So a couple of things just to recap. Be sure to let that blow dryer and that brush do a lot of the work for you so that you're not having to do a lot of work with the flat iron. Make sure that you're giving yourself some texture. When you're blow drying, make sure that you're blowing in the opposite direction to give yourself some lift, and then really know what your hair's limits are. I know that I could curl my hair all day long, and at the end of the day, pretty much still look like this. So I don't even bother. I just blow dryer the fire out of it. I just, do all of those tricks while I'm blow drying. Then when I use my flat iron, tease it a little bit, put some spray in there, and I'm good to go for the rest of the day. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please leave me a comment and let me know. Definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have any more ideas, I would love to hear them. For now, I hope you go out today and you're blessed and you do your best.